Oceanside is way too nice of a city to miss cool events. And with that in mind, today we're at the 2008 Days of Art, checking out some awesome artwork. So follow me as I take you around the event.
One of the things we really wanted all of San Diego County to know and other people to know is that we do have great talent right in our own community, right in our own backyard. You don't have to go a long distance to find great performers and great artists. We have them right here in the North County area.
Tell me who we have here.
We have Igor Cosenza, and he is the only printmaker that's showing down here at the Days of Art, and it's a wonderful art form that not very many people do anymore.
Igor, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you work.
Originally, I'm from Crimea. It's a peninsula on Black Sea, and the way I work, mainly I do printmaking, though I do some paintings as well. Printmaking, some old traditional forms like woodcut, etching, engraving. For woodcut, I work on block of wood, I cut it and then ink it and print it on my hand press. To make an etching or engraving, I work on plate of metal, zinc or copper, and I make my image on a plate of metal using tools and acids if necessary, and then I print it on hand press again.
What are you doing today at Days of Art? What's your reason for being here, I guess?
Well, I'm just using this great opportunity to show my work, to get some exposure, to talk to people, and to sell my artwork.
Lynn, I heard you guys work with some of Oceanside's troubled youth also in some of these classes. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've got a class of students who come every week, and they're all making incredible, realistic faces from clay, and they're loving it. It's a really great program, and we're hoping to get more kids from around North County to come as well. What we do in the school is we teach you how to take a block of clay. You've got the model, you've got this rolling stand with wheels on it, and you simply start from the profile. You look at the profile of the model and just move your finger like this and move the clay until you get the shape, and I just show you how to find the contours.
Can I get a lesson real quick? Can you show me?
Sure, yeah, go ahead, try it.
I would like to introduce you to Maria Counts, and I have to confess her work is so playful and wonderfully whimsical that every year I end up adding to my Maria Counts collection.
That's awesome. Maria, tell me a little bit about yourself. I see a lot of really cool work. A lot of stuff is pretty detailed. Just give me a little rundown about what you do.
I've been doing ceramics for about 20 years, and I teach ceramics through the city of Oceanside for going on 6 years now. And it's all low-fire clay and glazes, and it is very colorful. It's a lot of fun. This is actually one of the better shows in the area. They don't allow a lot of junk crafts. It's art. It's a lot of really nice art. It's a good show.
What do you want the public or the community of Oceanside to know about your work or even Days of Art?
Sunday's a good day to come because the artists will lower their prices.
Let me get your name.
I'm Sandy O'Connor.
And what are you doing here today at Days of Art?
Sandy Luter, my partner, and I are with Grace Designs, a company that we started, and we make handcrafted jewelry. And we focus on pearls, freshwater pearls, and we do a lot of crystals with it and a lot of other interesting semi-precious stones.
Sandy, you've got a really nice piece.
Thank you.
I've got no bling whatsoever.
Well, you need some.
So
and I already picked this out.
Can you hook me up?
You bet.
Can you hook me up?
I just picked this out just for you.
Oh, that's epic.
Beautiful.
That looks pretty good. Well, Sandy, I appreciate your time.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for the necklace. Till next time.
You
okay?
bet it.
Thanks.
Brandon?
As you can see, I'm pretty much back where I started at this point. I've checked out all the exhibits and a lot of really cool artists and people. For KOCT, I'm Brandon McCrae.
Art Walk, sponsored by the City of Oceanside, is taking shape around the Oceanside Harbor.
Professional artists have been selected to paint these drab electrical boxes into masterpieces reflecting Oceanside's tradition.
When completed, all 20 utility boxes will be repainted with designs of Oceanside landmarks and nautical scenes. Juried-in local artists have painted the first 5 boxes on the Oceanside Harbor Art Walk. Jay Crawford explains his design.
The theme of my design was to point out all of the things that mean Oceanside to me, which is surfing on the beautiful water, and I have a surfer girl here paddling out on the top, and the marine life. We have a cephalopod, which is an ammonoid, a critter that's related to an octopus and a squid, and the swirling layers represent the different currents and temperature zones and all the weird things that go on under the ocean. It's not all one temperature and one still body of water. There's a lot of stuff going on underneath there. So I tried to represent that with those bands of color.
Artists need to consider the size and scale of the 3D boxes in their design.
For me, putting artwork on a utility box can be a challenge, especially just this size of a utility box. I think that the height is a little bit of an issue. With a lot of the artwork that I do, I put a lot of detail into it, so there's a lot of lower level stuff here, and you kind of have to do some crawling around.
When you come out here on site, however, everything of course is enlarged, and you have to proportion it from a little 8.5, 11 sheet, and that's a little tricky at times, but it works out.
The city sands and primes the boxes in preparation for artists to begin their work. Then, artists step in and donate their time and talent to paint reliefs on the boxes.
It took me about probably 8 or 10 hours, and I had to come and do one part and then let it dry and then come back and do the next part. So it's just plain work, but then when you get to do the finishing touches, that's where the fun part comes in.
I think that this project in Oceanside is very useful for the community. I think it really builds community morale, and for me, I think that it gives me an opportunity to volunteer my time and my creativity and talent and actually put it into the community and allow the community to take appreciation from that and actually have a connection with the citizens of the community.
Art has the power to connect us all.
Art enriches our life, I think, a great deal.
I think that the best part about it is that it really does enhance the overall visual sense of the community.
Visitors to the harbor seem to agree that the artwork adds to the harbor's beauty.
I know people liked it. A lot of people talked with me when I was painting it and commented, and we're glad to see it. They thought maybe I was going to paint all the utility boxes in the city.
So the next time you're cruising around Oceanside Harbor, keep an eye out for these artworks. I'm Lauren Polisigi for KOCT.
I'm over here at the Luiseño Park between Douglas and Vandergrift. A cultural event is taking place. Follow me.
The park is located at Tilway in Oceanside, and today, Oceanside pays tribute to the San Luis Rey Band of Luiseño Mission Indians. And residents gather to celebrate and enjoy a beautiful day at the park. I wanted to find out more about the event, so I spoke to event coordinator Daniela Marshall.
This is Luiseño Park. It's one of the newest parks in Oceanside, so we decided to bring tribute to the Luiseños. We also decided to extend the tribute and just make it really an almost a month event by setting up an exhibit together with the library downtown.
The exhibit was open to the public, where everyone had the opportunity to explore some original Indian artifacts, such as musical instruments, cooking materials, and many other artifacts. The exhibit also included artwork of Robert Freeman, a nationally renowned Luiseño and Sioux artist. I'll introduce Mr. Freeman later. Let's hear more from Daniela.
And this is why Rock Cola is here right now, and we just want to have fun. It's a Sunday afternoon. Right now we continue with Pahai. They are also Luiseño artists, and they're free artists that usually work individually, and they just came together today to honor their traditions and their heritage.
I understand, I see the writing on the wall. Too much rain falling on us all. No more blue skies when the darkness comes. Silent is the night where I fall, where I fall.
This band came together specifically for this event. I thought with the event coming up, where it was at in Luiseño Park, that actually needed some Luiseños being here, showing that the people are still strong and creative and still being very active in the community.
Speaking of someone who is creative and active in the community, I had the honor to meet Robert Freeman.
So tell us what you got here.
Well, I've got just a little sampling of some stuff. I have a few etchings and original paintings.
So I got a chance to look at some of his paintings, which include surrealism, abstraction, and cubism. Oh, and he also loves orange and pink.
My mother was from South Dakota. She's Sioux, Uncle Papa Sioux from South Dakota. And she met my father on a Paiute reservation. Now, he's Luiseño Indian from Rincon. And I was born on the Luiseño Indian reservation in Rincon. And exactly, I am 1/4 Sioux, an 1/8 Yaqui, and an 1/8 Luiseño, and I'm half white. That's my background.
Luiseño is actually a Spanish word. Before we were Luiseño, we had families, different families that existed on the reservation. Before it was even reservation, they were all clans.
Well, the name itself actually means people of the West. Yeah. Which is what we are in the Southern California area, is people of the West. Yeah.
My influence as an artist and what I do, what I create is mostly people. I was born poor. My mother raised me and my sister, and back in the 40s and 50s, before women's lib, women made very little money, and my mother we were just really poor. And I was always around poor people. I've had a lot of honors and a lot of awards. I created the Native American seal for the state of California. I did a mural for LA County Library. I've done a lot of major pieces of artwork. But for me, it's just the pleasure that I have in doing the artwork. And that's my biggest accomplishment. It's just staying and making a living as an artist. It's really difficult to do.
Robert Freeman was recently honored at an Oceanside City Council meeting for his contribution to art. Russell Romo and Mel Vernon of the Luiseño tribe cut the ribbon to open the exhibit at the Civic Center Library. Let's hear just a few more words from Daniela.
For me, it's just have fun, have a great afternoon of fun, because we just don't have enough fun in life. But in the same time, I want them to remember Le Luiseño in this situation, specifically the San Luis Rey Band of Luiseño Indians.
San Luis Rey Band of Luiseño Mission Indians speak their gratitude for the acknowledgement of the park.
You know, it's really something to see a county and a city acknowledge the sensitive natural resources we have here, and to establish a park like this. This is incredible. I don't know how people really, if they really understand how vital this is, not only to our culture as Luiseño people and Indian people, the First Nation of this country, but to the United States. This is historical. This is incredible what was done here.
If you want to know more about Luiseño Indians, stop by the park between Douglas and Vandergrift, where you will find information plaques on the Luiseño tribe, or pick up a book at your local library.
Well, after a long day worth of work, I think it's time for me to enjoy the rock band. Jorge Marcial from Inside Oceanside. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to the Oceanside Museum of Art and our exhibition Quilt Visions 2006. This exhibition sets itself apart from some of the other exhibitions around the country.
It's really the creme de la creme the top of the contemporary art quilt world in terms of who gets juried into this show and what their history and background as a contemporary art quilter. This is the best.
This quilt is by Dan Olfey, and Dan is a resident of San Diego County. He's a retired engineer, and he's come up with really what is a new direction in contemporary art quilting. And one of the things that's so exciting about his quilt is his use of motion, his use of color, the way the color contrasts and bounces off of each other so that it vibrates. There's an electric quality to it. The nuances of color and the way he's layered them one over the other, as you get close to this quilt, you get a really different impression of it than you do from standing away. And that's kind of the beauty of a lot of the quilts in this show, is that they look, at first glance, you see one image and it excites you, and then you get closer and you start to see details you couldn't see from the distance, and then you get up close and you think, oh my gosh, there's all kinds of little details and nuances, the way the color slides in and out of each other. And that's true of most of the quilts in the show, that you enjoy them from a distance, you enjoy them from a mid-range, and then as you get close you see details that are just fabulous that you don't see unless you're right on top of it. This artist as well is known for a style that's unique to her. She's Linda McDonald from Northern California. She lives in Willits, which is, if you know, the heart of the lumber community in Northern California. And so her issues are very environmentally oriented. She's concerned with the earth's waste. What happens if we cut down all the trees? Do we need to cut down all the trees? How are we using renewable resources? And so she takes her personal interest, her passion, and uses that as the inspiration for her quilts. And so oftentimes you'll be able to recognize Linda's quilts just by the theme that's going on.
It's interesting, there are trends in art. The same way there are trends in clothing or furniture or architecture. There'll be a period where everybody wants a Spanish cottage, and then there'll be a period where, the 50s retro look is big in architecture. It's the same way with clothing. Vintage clothing is very popular right now. Well, then you'll see quilts that have vintage fabrics, like the quilt that we have in this show with the woman that's got her apron and all of her produce and her veggies, and she's cooking, and it's very from another era.
One of the things that delights me about the work of Pam Ruber is that her technique is really meticulous. The stitches are precise, the edges of the fabric are precise, it's wonderfully articulated, and then she has this great sense of whimsy and humor and satire. It makes you smile, it makes you laugh, and that's not a reaction you often get from looking at art quilts, or any kind of quilts, or any kind of art for that matter, unless it's, comic strips or cartoons, and there's certainly that element in this work. It's narrative. It doesn't exactly tell a story, but it could. The title of the piece is The Mysterious Migration of Miscellaneous Objects. That's a style uniquely Pam's own. I've not ever seen someone take this kind of cartoonness with these vibrant colors and fabric. Some of the fabric the patterns come from the 50s. Some of it is very modern. She's known how to blend the two together to get a sense of, we're looking at something that maybe we saw on television 40 years ago. So again, it's familiar in that regard, but yet combined in such a way that makes it fresh and new.
It's a very accessible and recognizable media, and I think that's why it's growing in popularity, because this is a time in our country's history when we want to feel good about ourselves, and this kind of work helps us do that.
Oceanside's Days of Art Street Fair brings into the city over 100 artists of every type: painters, glassworkers, and musicians. One particular booth, which drew lots of attention this year, was Circle Paintings, an interactive art project which invites people to collaborate with other members of the community to create large canvas and banner paintings. Under the guidance of artist, instructor, and project creator Hip Nguyen, participation requires no experience at all, and it all begins with a circle.
In the beginning, it's just start as an art project in the classroom, but as it's grow and more people enjoy it and find it fascinating, and the need is more, so I share and I train more people to do this kind of work. If you think of 3 words, connect, create, and celebrate. So we want to bring people together and to connect in real time and real space. And we create and we play and we paint together, and we celebrate the community, the family, the individual as well as the whole. The theme is also, one level is simple is a circle, but it's also the spiritual practice for me. When I paint with hundreds and thousands of people, I still feel the sense of calm and flow and peace and connect with others.
Participants and assistants go through a brief orientation to facilitate the creation of the circle paintings, learning the symbolism behind the different sizes of circles.
This is the big circle, is the ocean side. This is the world, okay? So when in the beginning we start with a big circle as possible.
Circle paintings are part of a larger project, the 50-52 project. HIP's goal is to hold 50 circle painting events in 50 states in 2 years.
My goal is in 2 years, but it might be longer. But especially this time of when the recession and people depressed and more unemployment, and I thought it would be wonderful time to get people out of their little corner or little and be with other people and helping and enjoy and create something that's joyful and meaningful.
HIP's project is just getting off the ground and is still looking for partners in local communities in different states to help organize events. HIP is also looking for sponsors to help take it to the next level.
My dream is to have an RV and drive through different states and working with all different communities and group of people and create this magnificent, gigantic painting that represents the spirit of America, generosity and creative and goodwill.
HIP's circle painting project has already taken him all over the world, from Asia to America, meeting people from all walks of life.
I have an opportunity to work with so many groups of people, from the blind to soldiers to farmers who never touched the brush before, and yet they create this magnificent painting. Or see soldiers who put out their guns and holding brush and paint together, all the way to prime minister and head of the state. Some of the country in in Asia come together and use art as way to communication and promote a sense of cooperation.
HIP's circle vision extends even further, with the goal to one day have an interactive circle festival.
The circle painting is just the model example, but I want people come out, paint and do sculpture together and ceramic together, and it's like a total interactive festival, art festival. So not just seeing, but doing it.